Hello and welcome to week 5 of Rewiring Your Brain for Happiness. We have been doing lots of hard work, and I just want to say how honored I am. Each one of you has really taken on your life, and I know it's hard work because I have done the things you're doing, and I always am doing the things you're doing, and I just want to say, how inspired I am by you. How absolutely inspired I am by you. So thank you for doing the work you're doing. This week, we're going to be talking about this acronym called RAIN, R-A-I-N, and we're going to also be talking about narrow view versus expanded view. So these two things create a lot of suffering for us whenever we're taking on our life. So I want to bring these to the forefront as really skillful means. So what skillful means is skillful tools to use for when things feel challenging. So whenever you take on your life, you'll notice that I'm not talking a lot about when things feel great, right? Because when things feel great, we're motivated to keep going. We don't feel heavy about things. We're like, yeah, I'm doing this. Like, I'm losing the weight, or the business stuff is going. Like, we don't really need support. In life, we need more support when things feel challenging. And so we've been talking about thoughts, how to not let our thoughts stop us, because they do. Me too. Our emotions, how these emotions arise, and if we don't know what emotions are there, then they can stop us. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about how to work with anything, any level of contraction. So whenever you notice yourself contracting in life, so this isn't always the goal. The goal in life is, to be skillful. I'm going to say that's the goal in life, is to just be skillful. No matter what arises, be able to be skillful with it. No matter what arises, know that we're capable of dealing with it. Okay, overarching goal. That to me is freedom. That to me is peace. And when things arise, we have kind of two states. We contract in and we shut down, and or we're like blown open. And both are going to happen. And a tool that you can use anytime that you're feeling kind of this contracted, shut down, lost in something, like, taken down the rabbit hole, caught in a whirlwind. This is a tool that you can use to begin to, and I call it anytime we're caught. Anytime we're caught. Anytime you're caught. What is at play is there is a narrow view mindset at play. Your mindset has narrowed, and we become hyper-focused on something, and usually it's something negative. It's like, oh, this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out. I don't know what to do. Or it's like, oh, I'm having bad feelings. I knew I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I should have listened to my intuition, whatever it is. Or it's like, I really don't want to get up. I really don't want to go to the gym. I really don't want to eat the vegetables. I just want to go get a piece of cake for lunch, right? Whatever it is, narrow view. We become obsessed. We become focused, hyper-focused. No problem. We all do it. And that to me feels like contraction. I'm going to show you something. So let's pretend that this piece of paper is everything that exists. Everything that exists in the whole universe. It's a lot on this piece of paper. Okay. Us, right? We're like a dot. We're like this tiny dot. But I'm going to just poke a hole for sake. Just for this learning's sake. Can you see the hole? It's a tiny little hole. Okay. So this is narrow view. When you're trying to look at life and all the challenges through this tiny hole, and you're like, oh, I can't see anything. I can kind of see myself. I can't see anything in the periphery. I can barely make out what's on the computer, but I can kind of see it. But it's a really kind of, it's a narrow view. It's a narrow view. And we get caught And we forget, here's the thing, we just forget. We forget we have the whole paper to work with. We forget that the one mindset that we're holding in this moment, that there are billions of other mindsets. Billions. How do I know that? It's because there's 7 billion people, so I know that there's 7 billion other mindsets, at least. But my guess is that there's even more. There's infinity ways to think about this. But we're just caught in a narrow mindset. No problem. No problem. So same thing, having awareness, right? So we're going to do RAIN. R-A-I-N. If you're taking notes, which you probably might be, or we'll go over this in our session, but R stands for recognize. And what we're going to begin recognizing is a few things that we're already recognizing. One, so recognize is like, what is happening? Well, there are 4 places to look. What is happening in my body? What is happening in my mind? What is happening in my behaviors, my behavior patterns? Oh, I'm eating a lot, or oh, I'm shutting down a lot, or I'm quiet, I haven't spoken my words like I know that I need to. And what are emotions? What emotions are here, right? So we can recognize it at every level, any level, recognize. I really want us this week to start recognizing our body sensations. I want that to be the access point. Any of them can be the access point, but I want us to practice the access point being our body sensations, because guess what? Your body sensations, my body sensations control us way more than we realize. We have a body sensation. Maybe it's anxiety, heart palpitations, right? Or maybe it's swirling in the gut, or maybe it's tight jaw. We become very rigid, right? And we literally just start reacting to that. We know, like our body knows when this is occurring, that there's probably emotions behind it, there's thoughts behind it, there's a bunch of things behind it. And we just start reacting to our body sensations. We believe them. We're like, oh, I'm having the anxious. This must mean I'm anxious, and I must be an anxious person, right? We believe that we're anxious people. We believe that we're depressed. We believe the body sensation. We believe that we're angry. Instead of just having the awareness of, oh, anger is here. Oh, anxiety is here. Oh, depression is here. Where is it in the body? So with RAIN, you're going to begin recognizing body sensation. And then the A is for allow. Allow is the question, can I be with this? Just as it is. Can I be with this without needing to change it? Without needing to judge it? Can I be with it just as it is? The I stands for investigate. We'll investigate by asking the question, what am I believing? When this discomfort arises, what am I believing about myself? What am I believing about life? What am I believing about the other person or about the situation? What am I believing that's creating the discomfort? Investigation. You can also invest the body sensations. We're not going to go too deep into this right now, but you can invest the body sensations and say, is there anything underneath the body sensation? Is there anything here that one's attending to? And you can listen, feel the body sensations. But what am I believing really begins to cut through and get to the point of some things. And then N is nurture. Nurture. In some Buddhist contexts, it's also non-self. So it's unidentifying. So nurturing and unidentifying. Like nurturing, like we've been talking about, we talked about in the last video, can be anything from physical touch, grabbing your own heart, grabbing your own belly. It can be saying kind words to yourself. It can be bringing in a nurturing presence. It can be bringing in the presence of an animal. It can be putting yourself in nature, thinking about like being on the trail, or thinking about being at the ocean in the sunset, or thinking about being near a babbling brook, whatever it is. Nurturing. And nurturing is so important in maturity. We aren't taught, there is not a class when you're young that's like, learn how to nurture yourself. No, and so we're all playing out these patterns, trying to comfort ourselves, when a mature perspective, I don't mean mature as in like I pay all my bills, and I mean that's mature too, but I don't mean I have kids and I work hard and I pay my bills. I'm not talking about that type of mature. I'm talking about an emotional maturity, is that you understand that you weren't taught to comfort yourself. And it's so important to be able to comfort yourself without external. Like, you don't need external things to begin comforting yourself. When you really realize that and you begin practicing it, you can let go of some relationships that like you've been using for comforting yourself, or like become healthier in that relationship. We use food to comfort ourselves. We use alcohol and drugs to comfort ourselves. We use relationships and love to comfort ourselves. We use we're like, shopping, materialism, consumerism to comfort ourselves. I mean, you name it. We are using it to try and just comfort this part of ourselves. Another level of investigation, the I, that I kind of forgot that I want to pop back to, is, when do I remember first feeling this way? What age was I? And I'm going to go through a meditation that goes through all this so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But that's just another thing. If you're wanting to remember another part of I, is what age did this occur? When age do I remember first feeling this way? Okay? Okay, so we're going to practice. So go ahead and let your eyes shut down. And as you let your eyes shut down, just go ahead and find a posture that feels alert but relaxed. And you can relax the forehead, the cheeks, the jaw. Relax the shoulders. Relax the belly. Relax the hands. And I want you to bring up something in your mind that's been really challenging you, that's felt hard. And you can trust me, I'm going to take you out. So really allow yourself to go back there and feel what comes up. So if it includes another person, bring them up. What was said, what was done. Really put yourself back in the challenging situation. Really feel the emotion that was there, the feelings that were there. What had it be challenging? Really allow yourself to go back there. And now I want you to bring your attention, I want you to recognize what body sensations are here. Where do you feel it in your body? And here's how I want you to label it. I want you to label it like, I feel it in my tummy and it's sharp, or it's tingly, or it's swirly. I feel it in my jaw, it's tight, it's hot. I feel it in my chest, it's heavy, it's pressure. I want you to actually feel the sensation that's there. And in your mind, think about and label the sensation that's there, and just sit with it for a moment. And then ask yourself, can I be with this? Can I be with this sensation just as it is? Can I be with this? Without needing to change it, without needing to judge it, but can I be with this? And if there's any part of you that's having trouble being with it, see if you can add space around it. Add space around the body sensation, expanding it, letting it be a little bit more spacious, have a little bit more room. We have a whole universe we live in. See if you can give this feeling a little bit more space and room to be there. As you ask, can I be with this? And then let's investigate. What are you believing? What are you believing right now about yourself, about life, or about the other that's having it feel challenging? What are you believing? Trusting whatever arises. And when did you start believing this? When was the first time you remember believing this? Was it when you were young, in high school? When's the first time you can go back and really locate when you believed this? When you started believing this about yourself or life? If an age doesn't come quickly, no problem. You can drop that question. If an age does come, just see if you can see when the first time you began believing it was. And then ask yourself, what does this vulnerable part of me need most right now? What does this younger version, if you were able to locate time, what was this younger version? What does this younger version need most from me right now? What do I need most right now? Maybe it's words of affirmation, words of confidence, encouragement. Maybe it's a hand on the heart or a hand on the belly. Maybe it's bringing in a nurturing presence of somebody or an animal. Or maybe it's imagining yourself in some wild place or some peaceful place. And as I fall silent, seeing if you can nurture yourself, giving yourself exactly what you need. Taking a deep breath. You can open your eyes slowly. Maybe write any wisdom that came. You can pause this video. This is rain. What it does is it takes the narrow perspective, the thing that we're like hyper focused on. If you're challenged, if you're feeling challenged, I can almost guarantee that you are in a narrow perspective, that you're looking at life through a narrow view, that little hole in the paper. No problem. We all do it. And what you do in that moment Practicing rain is a very skillful thing, and I want you to practice it so much. This is the practice of nurturance. This is the practice of recognize, which we've been working on. This is the practice of allowing it to be here, not pushing it away, which we've also been working on. And then investigating, so we're going a little bit deeper. We're learning to understand, we're learning to ask questions, skillful questioning. And then nurturance. N is so important. Nurturance is so important. It's so important to begin to learn how to comfort yourself when things get uncomfortable. When you learn how to comfort yourself, you don't need to play out the patterns as much. You don't need to reach for the food. You don't need to reach for the alcohol. You don't need to lean on the person. It's nice to have people. It's nice. I'm not saying that we don't need people. We need people. We need people. We're bound to people. And it's our responsibility to learn to nurture and comfort ourselves. And this is the practice of learning that. Another thing with narrow view, especially when it comes to other people. A lot of times when we're in a narrow view and it includes another person, and we're like blaming the other person, or we're feeling intense about the other person, it is really skillful to open up our perspective and ask ourselves, how do I act or do the same thing that person is doing? Where in my life? So let's say you're blaming someone for being rude, okay, or short, or whatever it is, being uncommunicative, whatever, right? You look in your life, you say, okay, so our job is, if we know we're narrow viewed, it's to open our perspective, right? We have the whole sheet of paper. We have the whole universe. Our one view is not the view. This is key. It's our view. It's my view. It's not the view. So inside of that realization, there's the honesty of there are a million other views. So if you're narrowed on a person, it's hyper skillful to really say, okay, this person's being uncommunicative. It's frustrating me. Okay, where do I do that? Where am I uncommunicative? And how can I better my communication as like an example and a learning for myself of this is what it feels like to be not communicated with, right? Or if somebody's lashing out at you, okay, where do I lash out in my life? Really opening the perspective of like, oh, I do it too. Right? Creating connection between you and people that you want to be separate from, not separating more, but really looking within. If somebody is triggering you, it's because it's something in you. Because if that person did the same thing to 100 people, all 100 people would act differently. So if they're triggering you, your trigger is for you to deal with, for you to handle. That's why these skillful means, these skillful practices, these skillful tools are so vital and key to us having happiness. When you react to another person, if somebody lashes out at you and then you shut down, guess who suffers? You. If you hold resentment, if you hold anger in your heart toward people, the other person is not suffering. Guess who's suffering? You are. So if something arises in you, it's your responsibility to deal with what arises. And sometimes that means having a conversation with somebody. It's not that we like completely leave the other person out. Sometimes we make requests or we set a boundary or whatever. But the key, especially when taking on your life, this program is about taking on your life, taking on your own happiness. And when you do it, discomfort arises. Discomfort between people, discomfort in yourself, and we're learning skills to really be with the discomfort, work with the discomfort, work with the fear, work with the body sensations. And if you're having intense body sensations, that's what I really want you to notice this week. I want you to do rain. You can even turn on this video, turn on the part just of the meditation, figure out where it's at in the timing, and literally play it. Play the meditation. Sit with my voice. Let me guide you through rain. Rain, 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 rain. Recognize, right? So what's here? What body sensation? Where do I feel this in my body? Allow. Can I be with this? Investigate. What am I believing? Nurturance. What do I need most? What do I need most? The N, I said, also can stand for, non-identification. So non-self. So here's the key. Do this really quick. Put your hand on your face. I think I did this in one of the other videos, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to just do it again. So now try to look at your hand. Try to find the details of your hand. You can't, right? Anytime we think we are some way, so I am anxious, or I am depressed, or I am mad, or I am upset, this is what it's like. We've identified. It's become an identification. It's latched onto us like it is us. What we can do instead, and what we're practicing, now take your hand like just a few inches away from your face, maybe half a foot. Now look at your hand. You can see your hand. You can see the lines in your hand. You can see there's 5 fingers, or however many fingers you have, right? You can see the detail, the color. When it's like this, we can't do anything. You can't even see what it is. When it's like this, remember, awareness gives you choice, gives you freedom. And what we're learning is we're learning to unidentify. Whatever arises in your life, whatever frustrations, whatever fears, whatever anything that arises, it's not personal to you. It's just arising. Here it is. And it will come and it will go. And the more skillful we can get at seeing it, having awareness of it, using skillful means, doing ReWiring, right? Especially in the discomfort. The more that we can witness it, see it for what it really is, then we have choice to stop reacting at it and start taking skillful action in the world. I don't know if you watch the news, but the world needs skillful action. Okay, so your job this week, practice ReWiring, practice ReWiring, practice ReWiring. Body sensations. What is happening in my body? Remember, you are not your body sensations. You are not your body sensations. If you were, they would always be there. So how I know they're not is that if I took away that body sensation, you would still exist. It arises and it goes away. So our job is to notice it, have awareness of it, and then skillfully work with it. That's ReWiring. Narrow view to wide view. Practice, practice, practice. If you need anything, you can contact me at KimberlyEliseJohnson@gmail.com or KimberlyCoaching.com on the contact page. You guys are amazing. Keep going. See you next week.